There's nothing wrong with having trauma. We all do. You just need to do something about it. Come on, unpack the trauma with me.
So how do you prioritize the children's needs when they really say the father must place their needs aside and to the needs of the children? Which is hard though, because I'm getting judged. What's going on. Which means, like you said, being actively involved in their lives, showing up to the game when I know you don't want me there. Doing stuff. How do you do that, Maurice?
Well, for me,
And I'm gonna say that, and then I think you said transparent, because you want to strive for open and honest communication and really addressing the issues, right? But go ahead, Maurice.
I said for me, it's more so of kind of like Ryan said, the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
So my dad's situation was all over the place. And so for me, it was like I wanted for my kid what I did not have from my father growing up.
Right.
And so for me, it was like I would never have my kid. I would never have my kid, no matter if he mad at me, no matter if he happy with me, no matter if we ain't talking or whatever. For me, it was like because I lived that, and I was like I don't want my kid to ever know what it's like not to have uh their dad there, right? And so for me, like about a couple months ago, so my biological dad, Pop Smoke, left before I was even born, right? This past January, February, he popped up, reconnected after all these years, never met him before, so forth, so forth.
Oh.
And
Mm-hmm.
this February, and then I went to see him a couple weeks ago, right? And so when I was explaining this to my son, when I was explaining to my son who's now 9, he couldn't fathom not having a dad. He's like, "How did you not have a dad?" Right? And so for me, that was like one of the proudest moments because for me, it's like it's normal for my kid to have a dad, and that's his ex now is to have a dad. And so for me, that particular moment made everything worth it for me. All the sacrifice that I made, all the putting my feelings aside, all the putting the mask on and being good and all that. Though it hurt at the time, it was like it fulfilled me to hear him be literally stunned, shocked, didn't know how to believe it, like didn't understand it, how you could not have a dad, you know? And because like, so a little bit more about that is that my biological dad left before I was born. My dad that I thought was my dad turned out not. I found out he was my dad when I was almost a teenager. Like I was about 13, and
Mm-hmm.
so it just popped up as a mistake I wasn't supposed to kind of know. I've heard it before but didn't believe it. And then on top of that, I had a stepdad that I did not like. We clashed all the time, and so for my kid, it was like I took all those experiences, right? And I rolled them into one of like, this is what a dad is. This is what a dad is supposed to do and so forth. And that for me is, and then my uncle is a major influence in my life. And the way my uncle is as a parent is how I model my parenting out of and how I model like what I want to be as a person. If I can be half the person that my uncle is, then I'll be all right. And so it's like with that, I never want my kid to feel this, so it was like imperative to me with my uncle in my ear, like you be a parent no matter what, no matter what. There's gonna be times when he don't want you, there's gonna be times when he wants you. You be a parent no matter what. And he's like he said just the biggest thing is to show up because my kid was so young at the time like he was so young at the time when we got divorced and going through all this stuff. It was like he's like it's very important that you be there, no matter what, because you're gonna establish a pattern or establish a standard of I'm your dad. No matter what you say, no matter how much you don't want me to be, no matter how much you do want me to be, I'm gonna be there. So you gonna suck it up and deal with me being there as your parent. And he said you just have to be consistent. And so for me, I'm not gonna lie, it hurt. Like sometimes I would show up and I would be because all my family's back home. All my family's back home, and I'm out here by myself surrounded by all my ex-wife's family and friends and so forth. And it's like I would show up and I would be that dude that's in the corner. You know, I'll be the guy at the event that's like, okay, when my son is done, I go speak to him, say what's up, let him know I was there, talk to him for a minute, and then I'm out. Unless it's
Right.
my day to take him. And it's like
Right.
it was hell in a sense because you're the oddball out, you're the one, and then especially when it's your son is like he feels like he has to pick a side and like, oh, I want to talk to you, but I don't know if it's okay to
Right.
talk to you because
Mm-hmm.
of what my grandma said or what my granddad said or what my uncle said or what my auntie said
Right.
and I don't want to make them feel some type of way, and I don't want you to make
Mm-hmm.
you feel some type of way too. So they're doing that teeter totter thing, like double dutch. I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out. I'm in, I'm out. So that in itself was difficult, but I think my own personal experiences with the father figures in my life and my uncle, like saying, "No, you gonna do it." Like you are my nephew. You're gonna do it, kind of deal. And so
You
I
were
think
sure for him. Yeah.
that for
Mm-hmm.
me is what made it a little bit easier, even though I
Mm-hmm.
didn't at times I was like, I didn't want to go. Like I'll just catch you when it's over, you know. But it's like, no, you're gonna show up because at this point, these are formative years that are gonna matter the most. And if anything, my son knows I'm gonna be there.
That's good. Yeah. So now, I mean, what you guys do, I always call this like unpacking men's trauma. You've been sharing all the stuff that you've been going through the whole ordeal. So now, how do you move forward now? You know, and almost like started with Maurice did and what you said. You know, I think maybe. What do you think about having those? Have you had those honest conversations with your kids and about what happened? Because sometimes they blame themselves and
True.
and
Um, yes, I've had honest conversations,
mm-hmm,
but usually, this is how mine transpired. Talking to my daughters, because they don't know the whole story, it becomes one-sided. It becomes your anger against why everything happened and what they've been told, and so you go down the list, or okay, your grandmother said this. Okay, well, let me tell you what really happened. And I don't care how old a child is. Sometimes that's kind of they've been living with these people for a majority of their life, not all their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So for you to go and I had to catch myself to bash their mother. Or,
oh man, that's what I think. Yeah, you want. Yeah. 'Cause they say try to stay away from
Yeah.
from that, but that's not easy. You talk about me. Your mom was out there in them streets too. You want to say all kind of stuff like that. I mean, that's how you be thinking, right? Like you gonna talk about me, you know, because no one likes to be attacked.
Well,
Yeah.
but these are just questions they've held on to
Mm-hmm.
for so long, and now they're getting because they're not able to speak to you
Right.
when they're under somebody else's roof of care or on somebody else's dime. So when they get to be a semi or adult,
Right.
then they have questions,
Right.
and then you go, you try to veer away from it, but then you go, well, hey, you grown now, so let me let you know what really went on, and you have to understand that they still look at these people. That's my mama you talking about, and my personality is I don't care who it is. I'm gonna let you know. I've had to make this real walk with being humble, and sometimes less is better. Sometimes it's not the things that you can say, but the things you will say. And I've learned to filter my emotions. It's another thing. They don't want men to deal with their emotions at all. Just you're just supposed to be kind of like one way. They don't want you to be I'm a very emotional person. I'm very honest. I'm just all the cards on the table. How I feel.
Right.
So I had to take in consideration. I got girls, and you know, how are they gonna take this? Maybe they don't want. Maybe they already know.
So did you have that conversation with them?
Yeah.
How did they receive it?
Not good at first. It was a it was a little.
They said that's not what Mama said.
Well, no. They just listened because it was harsh. It was my reality to you. Want to know? You want to know what really went on? I'm going to let you know. You're grown enough now, but you know sometimes your kids are really never grown enough. They are, but you know it's still that little person inside. You know, wherever trauma hits you, that's where you stay. That's where people don't understand. That's where you really don't move. You move on, but you don't move past it.
How's your relationship with them today?
It's decent. We talk.
Not like you wanted it to be.
No, because I have this thing to, you know, what I missed out on. I'm selfish like that. Like I told my daughter, I can't teach you how to ride a bike. That was snatched from me.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, everybody's worried about everybody else to be okay, but what about me being okay?
You don't matter. That's how society make us feel.
Yeah, you're right. I see you getting. Go ahead, man. Let tears out.
Look, it hurts.
Yeah.
So when you hurt like that, look, I grew up. I love my father to death. Like I told him, I wasn't a part of the bad decisions you and my mother made at a young age. My father used to tell me all the time that, you know, your mother don't want you. Matter of fact, I'm going to get a plane ticket and I'm going to send you to Chicago to where she at. I'm going to take you to the airport and watch. You'll be right back. Stuff like that sticks with you. So it's a lot of trauma that I've dealt with that I've not dealt with. Like, how can you tell that to your son? No matter what my mother's done, look, I don't know what kind of trauma you put her through or you guys put each other through. That wasn't my fault. But to say that to your son, that your mama don't want you and I'm going to buy you a plane ticket and watch she don't pick up the phone for you to be received on the other end, it's crushing. So I take that along with picking somebody that decided to, for whatever reason, do something else, postpartum. You know, there's a lot of stuff that comes into play that people use. But at the end of the day, what about you? You're only as good as what you've been taught. Virtually, I saw great examples. You know, I saw uncles stay with people until their kids get 18 and miserable, just waiting till you turn 18 so they can leave. You know, went through the motions. And I never wanted to live my life like that.
You know, I'm here too, and man, thank you for being so transparent and open. So you felt rejected by it because your dad think you said your mama didn't want you. Then you got another daughters rejecting you again.
Right.
So you struggle with that rejection, people.
Right. So
abandonment.
That's
why
why
closed off.
Close myself off.
Yeah.
And I only deal with, this is my thing now. I'm only gonna deal with it until I see the signs. Like my daughter had a 16th birthday, and they weren't calling. So I used to call. Oh, they're busy. They this and any other. My ex was having that at a club. How I found out was through my father, and so they called me because they needed the rest of the money to pay for it. And I'm like, I said, why is my daughter 16 having a party at a grown folks club? And why I didn't get a birthday invitation, but you want me to pay for all of this? So I'm looking at it like, oh yeah, send me the stuff. I'll send you money. I'm not sending you nothing. And it was wrong because I agreed to it, but I was only playing a part to where I'm not involved. But you only want me for monetary reasons. And that's like,
that hurts.
But if you continue to do stuff like this,
nobody's gonna feel used.
right? So guess what? Hey, you guys, like I told my kids, I talk to you when you're able to talk to me on a one-on-one basis.
It's amazing. I hear somebody and say, you know, when the kid was little, it's all mine. And then when they get a certain age, You need to see your daddy. You know, I need some money
Right.
for you. But you don't want to be part of their life.
Right.
Like you said, you missed that part of teaching them how to ride a bicycle. You snatched that. Or me plaiting their hair. You know,
Right. I grew up under the supervision of my grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
All the kids, every grandkid that came through there, she was watching, taking care of. So as growing up, we had the responsibilities of helping. So I'm very fluent in childcare, very hands-on plaiting hair. People used to think my wife used to do hair. I'm like, nah, that's me.
Yeah.
When you grow up like that in a loving environment and a caring environment, and then when that's, like I said, ripped away from you, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, and unfortunately, some relations might never ever be the same again.
True.
Because you missed that period of. Well, you was gonna say something, Randy.
No, I was gonna say
About that.
in my case, it was just just trying to do what's right, and I never through it all, even now, and I've even told other people, don't ever say nothing about my daughter's mother.
Mm.
Don't matter how I feel about her, that's still my daughter's mother, and she has a right to see her mother in the best light as possible.
Correct.
I'm not gonna take her from that.
My mom's like that.
See,
Yeah.
just like for me.
Mm.
See, but her mother didn't do the same for me.
She didn't cover you.
No, because my daughter came to, and this is where some of the problems began with me and my daughter, because my daughter she's a talker,
Mhm.
and she had questions because her mother's telling her so much, and it's like, well, Dad, did you do this and did you do that, and all these things that a child should know nothing about, but I'm getting questioned. So when I began to tell my daughter, sweetie, I can't talk to you about those things. Just leave that alone. Let the adults handle it. She got angry. And she even asked me, why do you let my mother do that? You don't do nothing.
Mm.
See? Now, I'm talking to a 5-year-old this time. My she's a little ahead of the curve with that conversation. But the thing of it is that even now, no matter what the case is, I've always been against that. Because no matter what you feel about this person, that child will get the opportunity to develop their own opinion.
Okay, first of all, I want you to finish. Actually, it's one of the things I had out here. Avoid negative conversation about the co-parent. My mom was, my dad died when I was 7 years old. He OD'd on drugs, but I remember they got divorced. But my brother didn't see this, but I walked in one time. I could still remember about 4 or 5. I saw him push the ground, push the ground. And I walked in, and he pushed me out. But she never talked about him. But when I got older, I said, he wasn't about nothing. He wasn't no good there. Even she could have, she just never ran him down. But when I got older, I realized he just wasn't a good dude. I mean, that's why he never died. Yeah,
right.
Go ahead.
Right, but see, and the thing
I developed my own.
No. But the thing of it is, and I understand why your mother did that, because it had nothing to do with your father.
No.
It had to do with you.
Right.
And sometimes, as a parent, you have to take the hit so your child don't have to suffer. Because that was the same thing for me. Because again, we're talking about a child that I was with every day. Okay, I'm talking about 365 days a year.
Wow.
Changing diapers, combing hair, all of that stuff. I didn't, even though I'm married, my wife didn't have to do that. I did all that.
Right.
Now she came in and was great. Her and my daughter had a great relationship, and they do, But the thing of it is that for a child, I've seen parents do this. Talk about the other parent.
Yeah.
Oh, your daddy ain't this, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then not only that, you hear that from people who will say these things about the dad, but then turn right around and creep around with the dad. So my thing is, I can't let my emotions dictate my daughter's view of her mother.
That's good.
Because see, irregardless of what I feel, and what I also know is this. Her mother has issues. Everybody does. And the thing of it is that irregardless of the person you sitting at, you don't know that person's history. Correct. And you never know.
I just said that.
You never know what somebody is dealing with. So my thing is, I felt like this because I didn't know anything about her. My only leverage was to listen and learn. Okay. And the things I learned and I listened to, I can't go with. You see, because it goes against my belief system. It goes against who I am, my moral compass.
Yeah.
You see, because again, I've been a kid. I know how I felt at school. Somebody said something about my mother. we in the principal's office. You almost had to beg them, say something about my mama so I get suspended.
No,
But-
you say, I'm going to meet you at the corner after school.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But the thing of it is that because your parents are the closest thing to God that you know.
True.
Okay. And I have no right to take that away from my daughter.
Right. That's good. I love that, man.
I have no right to do that.
That's good.
Irregardless-
Even though they
now,
been
mind
lying on you.
mind you, I may be mad enough to go crazy, but out of respect for my daughter, I've even had to listen to my daughter's grandfathers talk crazy. And it's like, man, really? But I got to walk away because I know it's a bigger picture. But I would never tell my daughter about that. Now, once she gets older, she may have some questions, but I believe in my case, she's learning all she's going to learn about her mother right now. Most kids wait till they teenagers where you see where the woman has a child and, oh, I can't deal with them till you take them or whatever. That's pretty much what happened, but happened to my daughter at a younger age. So her experiences and even being away from her, I have to be hypersensitive because even though I know, like my daughter's like, oh, Dad, I lied. It's all my fault because she's been made out to be a liar. So this is what she believes she is.
She thinks she's a liar.
Yeah, she believes I'm a liar now. Because when you're told you lied or you did this, I have to tell her, no, honey, this ain't none of this your fault. You a child. First and foremost, it's sins of the father, so I'll take more responsibility for it than her mother. But once it got to a certain point, I had to back up and say, no, you on your own. I can't protect you now because it felt like I had to protect my daughter's mother in order to protect my daughter. Because of her thought process, you see. I didn't want her thought process to be disrespect your parents. Never that. Now, it'll come a point where if she does disrespect her, that'll be because that's what her mother taught her to do. It won't be by my hand, right. See? Because my thing is this right here. I still got to live with my decisions, you see. And only thing I can do with the decision after I made it is live with it.
Right.
You see? And that's what I did. But one thing about me is I've had to be humble because he knows I'm very blunt. And I'll say something that I'll sound like a drunk pirate and I haven't had a drink. but the reason is because it's like this here. I know the impact and the effects it'll have on the child. Yeah. And this is a part of this in custody. When we talk about custody, men and women all lose focus of the child.
Man, you all up in the notes, man. Yeah, they do.
And I
so
could,
why? Because they're thinking about how they feeling right now.
Well, it's like this. As a human being, we have to be selfish to a degree.
Right.
Like Mike said, my feelings got to matter at some point.
At some point.
They got to matter. If they don't matter to me, then who?
Right.
And one thing we
That's
know,
good, man.
most people don't know you. You have to teach them how to treat you.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. See? And I wasn't able to do that with my daughter's mother. See? Because we are two strangers.
Well, no real relationship in the beginning. Anyway,
two ships passing in the night. So my thing is,
happened to stop by the same port one time. And
but the thing of it is and I've always through it all.
Right.
I maintained, even when she disrespected me, I respected her.
That's good. That's good wisdom.
I believe like this. If I disrespect her, I disrespected myself because I could have left her alone and let her deal with it on her own. Because one thing about it, if I don't get involved, just like when I walked away, well, I didn't really walk away. I stepped back for 8 months because the more I gave attention to it, the more harsh my consequences were. You see? Because we're talking about somebody, holiday, birthday, Dad, I want to get my mom a gift. Let's go get her something. But in return, I'm crapped on. And for me, it's not okay. Like a saying say it's okay, but it's not okay, but it's okay. Because see, the stuff I had to face and deal with is beyond my power. So to have people I could talk to and really it's only, like I say, maybe a couple of people I could talk to, but it's only certain times. Sometimes, like they say, when the curtain closes, the tears of a clown are a lot. And nobody wants to feel used. Right. Because in this, we're abused too. Right. This is abuse. Right. When you do these things to me as a man or any man, It's abuse, especially when this is not happening to you. But again, once I understood what was happening, I was able to deal with it. See, because it was above anything I could handle. So, prayer, God, getting back to my flock, those things. Because right now, even as I sit here, there's no assurance that my daughter's going to make it out of this.
Mm-hmm.
See, because I don't know the effects it's going to have on her later. See, because
are on your relationship because are you close to her? Or is she gonna come up with something different again?
Betray me again.
You betray me again?
Well,
That's got to be in the back of your mind.
Oh, it's at the front of my mind.
Okay.
It's at the front of my mind because again, this is new. I'm only 5 days in from seeing my daughter after 8 months.
Man.
But when I seen her, she came and hugged me like nothing ever happened. But the thing of it is this. I just think that
she's 8 or 9, you said?
She'll be 9 in November. She's 8. And the thing of it is that, in this case, because I've seen a lot of cases, sitting in the courtrooms, you're watching other people, you hear all the stories, and it's like horrifying.
You're like, that dude deserve it, but not me. Yeah.
Well,
sometimes you might feel
but I've seen some guys like, wow, why would you guys do that?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, when I hear that, it's like, I don't stand a chance. They ready to hit me with a brick.
My Reed story.
Yeah.
I mean, no charge here. Police officer, upstanding citizen, law-abiding citizen, and you think he was a shoe-in, right? Hey, I'm doing the right thing, and X name.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I think Maurice. So I take this question, then I got to jump in. I got a final question. What do you say?
There we go. Can you hear me?
Oh, here you go. Hey,
He's back.
He's back.
Just in time again.
We hear you. Thank you, Maurice. I got a question for you, Maurice. I don't know if you heard anything we've been saying. He's our call in. Yeah. So, how do you get your life back on track after going through the custody hearing?
One day at a time. Like literally one day at a time. You have to really sit down and say that, hey, this relationship may never be the same as what it was, and accept that. And at the same time, after I accept it, work towards trying to get close to where it was as possible. And also, additionally, is more so just being honest, going back to therapy for me. Like I went back to the therapy and worked through it because it was like one of those things of I had came from a lot in therapy already. And then just as I started making progress, it was one of those things of, okay, now I'm back. I'm starting to revert back to the space that I came from. And so it was more so of going back to therapy and dealing with that before I was able to continue to make that progress. I was able to continue to make that progress forward. And when I made that progress forward, it was like, okay, once I got some momentum and some traction, just keep going and taking it one day at a time. Because when I get those small victories, I don't care how small it is. I was taking it. It's a win. I don't care if it's my son telling me, you know what, I love you. Oh, it's a win. If my son telling me, hey, can you pick me up this day? I'm coming. It's a win. So when I get those small victories, I just kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing. And over time, it became a thing of, hey, now I'm good. We're getting to a point to where it was somewhat like it was. And now it's like one of those things of, like with my son, where our relationship is back on track to where it was.
So if you tune in, this is great, man. And I'm sure so many men and women, I'm sure you're enjoying this. So you can, okay, I didn't realize their side. So it's rough. So maybe we can leave from this podcast in the future. Be like, let me just sit down and have a conversation, both of us. And because this is affecting the kid, it's affecting him and me.
A lot of times you don't realize how, even though you're in a relationship, if you don't have good examples or you're not, you're really immature. So it has to be a point of maturity. And if you've never seen that, if you haven't grown into that, then it's gonna be hard to get to that point because our community we don't talk about. We dismiss everything. We just move on.
So true.
We just it's baggage. Guess what? It goes in the trunk, goes in the closet. Right. Nobody talks about it.
So true.
we have so many secrets
Oh
in
my
our community.
This is why, man, you started unpacking men's trauma.
Yeah.
And we're not better.
No.
because
The trunk in the closet, it just gets fuller.
Now, I always say, like, trauma, so eventually it'll get so much in there, and eventually it's going to burst open.
Yes.
And then you're going to be able to handle it.
Right.
Be all over the place.
That's like when your bills come. I equate things when I go over to a friend's house. I know what their life is. I know what they're going through. Because when they say, "Oh, go in the refrigerator and get this," so go get that, like family members, and I see their refrigerator in chaos or disorder, I know their life is in disorder and chaos. so we have to, and we don't talk. Well, I'm not saying we don't, but most of us, we don't talk to our children certain steps and get into certain situations with certain people. You have to be open and honest about you before you even talk to your kids, so they can have the tools to navigate through stuff like, hey, sweetheart, you might not want to go, even though, guess what? We've all been young. We don't listen. We're going to do what we're going to do, but at least give them the format.
Can't say you didn't know.
Can't say you didn't know. Yeah.
gave you the map. You still got lost, but you did that on your own.